first thing we have is we're going to go straight to our superintendent comments.
Well, good evening. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, board, for being here this evening. Today was a challenging day for our school district. We lost an individual who's been with us for 29 years, Ms. Charlene Faulkner, over at Jackson County High School. So I want to send our thoughts out to her and her family, and just remember her. In those trying times, you find out a lot about your community, and I think we found out a lot about our organization today and how we rallied around that school, rallied around Ms. Gillespie in her first 6 days as the principal there, and the challenge that comes with that. And just want to say that her family are in our thoughts. We are off to a start at school, and it's a very good start. Lots of great things are taking place each day in our classrooms in our schools. Our car rider line each day is becoming less and less. Our buses are becoming more and more efficient and more on time, and they're arriving at school in a timely manner, which is what we want to see. So lots of great things. School Food Nutrition is doing an amazing job with feeding all of our kids breakfast and lunch each day. We also have a great event this evening. We're going to celebrate as a community as we bring East Jackson and Jackson County High School together. I want to say thank you to Mr. Hooper for his work and diligence in preparing for tonight and getting that ready so that we have a great event. I want to say thank you to all the staff for the start of school. It takes a group of people working together, and a lot of things happen behind the scenes, whether that's David Farmer at 5 o'clock in the morning doing things or whatever that is. I want to say thank you to all of you for your efforts and what you're doing for our kids. Some sports are taking place already. Got the scrimmage tonight between East and Jackson County High School. We also, both of our volleyball teams have been competing. Our softball teams have been competing. Cross country starts this Saturday. And then Legacy Knoll will have its first official sporting event, hosting a volleyball game on August the 16th. So that has been a cool experience. I want to say thank you to all of you for the ribbon cutting and all of your work there. And it's been a smooth opening. We've got our Rutherford Lyle and her staff at Legacy Knoll. And that might be our best car rider line. So we'll keep working at that. But good stuff there. Also want to remind the board, Monday's meeting will be held at Legacy Knoll. We will do the Heroes ribbon cutting at 4:30 right there on 332 with Carol Daniel, and they'll be cutting the ribbon. Construction's already started on that new facility. We're excited about that. And then we'll host our board meeting at 6:30 at Legacy Knoll.
That'll be the groundbreaking, not the ribbon.
Oh, I'm sorry, groundbreaking.
Did we get done that fast?
You got it. I'm glad you caught me on that one. At this time, I want to call up Mr. Easler. He has a special announcement with Solmax and some partners in our community.
Thank you so much, board. And I'm going to go ahead and invite up Chad Bingham, who is the chair of the board of directors. Many of you know Wendy Davis and Tanya Harvey. So Solmax, the former Tincata, if you are trying to place who they are, that change just took place very recently, has been a part of the organization of Empower for a lot of years. But about 2 years ago, I guess it was, they got really fired up about a partnership called the Georgia CAT, the Georgia Consortium for Advanced Technical Training, which is the American version of the German American Chamber, or the German apprenticeship model. And came to us very excited saying, we need a partner. We want to get this going. We want to work with it. Wendy has been a staunch supporter of this program and really being a driving force at Solmax in order to get this up and going. We've had our first student last year that has already been very successful in his career and what started at Solmax. Our second apprentice just started there this week, and we are very excited about things to come. Tonight that you're here, because there's a very special presentation that Wendy wants to make to us. I'm not going to steal her thunder, but thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to be here. But I'm going to turn it over to Wendy.
Well, we appreciate the partnership. You're right. I mean, this is past near and dear now. It seems like we've worked on it 2 years. It is from Germany that my boss, a lot of our equipment comes from Germany, and he had seen the apprenticeship program there, came back, he said, I want you to find something like that in Georgia. So it's taken us 1.5 years, I think, to get it off the ground. And like you said, we had our first student that completed his first year. He's already enrolled at Lanier Tech. And our second student from Jackson County High School started this week. So we're very excited. What we're looking for is the success of building a pipeline of skilled labor for our facility, and we know that's what we're lacking. So this gives an opportunity to the high school students. We're going to pay 100% of their education. They get paid while they're learning. They get paid for school. So we're really excited. I just paid Brooks' tuition at Lanier Tech. So we're excited about this partnership. I'm very pleased that Solmax is going to make a commitment to the Empower Center. For our partnership, as long as we continue it, they'll donate $10,000 a year. So I got your first check for this school year that we're very excited to. We appreciate the partnership and look forward to a long relationship with Jackson County.
Thank you so much, and likewise. This is amazing. We can't express our gratitude enough for the investment that you're not only making into our community, but you're making into our young people. So thank you so much. Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening, board. I want to start by saying thank you, Dr. Brown, for the comment on the community event, but that credit needs to go to Sierra Roberts for putting that event together tonight. She's out there working very hard on that, so I want to give her the credit that she deserves. Start tonight, in the month of July, I forgot to update you that our new websites are up and running. So our award-winning design, we cleaned that up a little bit, made it a lot more efficient. So you're going to, when you go to our websites, they are up and running. One thing that is not on our websites yet is a staff directory. We're working through that, and so we're going to work there to get people for our staff directory. The other aspect of our websites is we launched athletic websites. So JC Panther Athletics and EJPeoplesAthletics.com are our two athletic websites that houses middle school and high school athletics, varsity and junior varsity. Rosters will be added on there as well. So another great opportunity to brand our athletics. Scores are available, physicals, all the information that needs to happen, NCAA eligibility, all housed on these websites for our student athletes, and continue to highlight our programs. I want to thank our media team. We launched those in July. When we met mid-July, all of our media teams at all of our schools had to go through and clean up and get new pictures on there, make sure the information is most accurate and up to date. That's obviously a big weapon or tool that we use to communicate with our families. So I want to say thank you to our team for that. I want to highlight that on August 1st, we held a book bag and school supply giveaway for our community. These was possible because of donations by Williams-Sonoma and Bethlehem Church. They reached out to us. They wanted to make those donations to us. And so we had over 400 book bags that were fully stocked with school supplies. We marketed through social media that we were going to allow folks to come to Empower and get book bags for all different levels, elementary, middle, and high school. And when we opened the doors at 8 o'clock that morning, we had people in line at 7:15, and we ran out of nearly every book bag in the first 2-hour window. We had a second 2-hour window. Our team rallied. Dr. Waxter, our school social workers, rallied to every school. We knew we had supplies at those locations, and within 30 minutes of the 2-hour slot in the afternoon, we were out. So we helped over 400 students at the various levels with back to school supplies. I think that's an amazing job.
Who was that again, Ed?
Say that again.
Who was that again, please?
Williams-Sonoma and Bethlehem Church gave those donations. And so a great job by our team. Something that I thought was really powerful was when we got the supplies, they had to be packed in the book bags. That was our kind of thing. We were going to pack them. We asked students in Empower to come help us. JRTC students and FFA students came and helped us, packed it. The morning of distribution, 3 of them knew that we were handing them out and showed up to hand those bags out themselves. Did not get asked to come back, and they just came to help out. So really want to thank those students. I want to thank Dr. Waxter, Ms. Rachel Duke, Destiny Sillage, Hannah McEnroe, and Stacy Monroe, our school social workers, Sierra Roberts, and Ms. Jennifer Lance for putting that together. It was a great event, and we were able to help our community. I think that's the key. We want to be good stewards of our community. We're already planning our next opportunity to help, which is our Thanksgiving food drive. Met with the social workers the other day, so we're already in the planning phases for Thanksgiving to help out our community. So, and then some logistics for Monday's ribbon cutting. Park in the Legacy Knoll back parking lot. We will have transportation for you to get up to the I said ribbon cutting too, groundbreaking ceremony, and you got on to him and I did it. And we'll drive you up there, we'll drive you back, and we'll get you up there and do the same. So that's all I got. And I'm gonna skirt out to go to the meeting. So.
I think I'm next. So good evening, and we are excited. On behalf of the teaching and learning team, I'm going to bring you some highlights from our data. And I know you've seen a little bit of this, but they were actually released on July 28th, so we want to give you a good overview of our data, some areas where we've really made some significant progress, and then areas where we continue to work on this. But this really represents the hard work of our teachers and our leaders and just the entire instructional team working together. And I want to especially shout out to Sandy Aiken and Martha Wilson for their hard work on always bringing this data together in such a timely way so that we can begin using it immediately. So first of all, Jeffrey, if you'll click on that balanced scorecard, just as a reference, this is something that we began last year, and we continue to reflect on the targets that we're setting. We want to have clearly defined targets so that we can define that win and celebrate the win where we're meeting those targets. It should open up, maybe it doesn't, Jeffrey. If not, I will make sure that you get a copy of that balanced scorecard, but I'm going to talk through some of the pieces from that. So maybe it doesn't. We'll go ahead and keep on moving through. So within the balanced scorecard, we define performance measures that are our targets. And so that's continual work that we go back to as leaders at the district level and the school level. And schools have established their own balanced scorecard as well so that they can personalize that to match their school improvement plans. But I'm going to talk you through some of the highlights and the areas where we really have some significant areas to celebrate, and these are referenced in the balanced scorecard. Again, I'll make sure that you have access to that so that you can see where we hit those targets. So we'll start off with literacy, and as you know, in literacy, we have really done some significant work this year with establishing high-quality resources, texts, classroom libraries, establishing clarity in terms of making sure that our schedules align to allow the instructional time needed, and then we're really doing some systematic PL, and it's exciting to see how that is paying off in our literacy data. So this is really a win to be able to share this with you, but we'll start off with third grade reading. This is students reading on or above grade level, and you'll see that we have an 8% increase in third grade reading level. And it's also just great to see when we see that jump where we're above that state and RESA level. So in many of these, if you'll notice as we scroll through here, Jackson County Schools is the gray bar, and then we have our RESA district in the kind of turquoise and state in the purple. So we always love to see where we're just really edging above. And when we look at our RESA district comparatively, we're making great strides in terms of edging up, making progress to where we really should be and want to be at the top of that RESA district. So that's very exciting to see. But third grade was a big win, and within that third grade celebration, we also had, as you know, Maysville Elementary, who was the very highest in the state for improvement for third grade on or above reading level. So that's just something that we're extremely proud of across the district. Fourth grade also had an increase with a 5% increase in students on or above grade level for reading. Fifth grade, a 5% increase on or above grade level. Sixth grade had an 11% increase, so that was really significant looking at students on or above grade level. And seventh grade also had a 3% increase. So those are just some areas where we're really excited to see that growth and progress. Eighth grade stayed the same in reading level. And then for American Lit, we had just a little bit of a dip there. This is an area where we're continuing to work. And then we go into the next slide. We'll go from on grade level reading to level 3 and 4. So when we set goals, we really set goals for proficient and above. We want our students at that 3 and 4 level. So we're continually stretching to deepen that level of rigor and get our students to that higher level of thinking. So we'll start out again at third grade. This is the ELA end of grade assessment. And so if you'll see there, we had an increase of 12%. So that's very significant. Again, a huge celebration. And going back to that, looking at that celebration on the state, that's where Maysville was third in the state for their improvement in level 3 and 4s, and Gum Springs was 17th in the state. So some very significant improvements there. Catch up with you here. All so then fourth grade, we had a 1% increase in our level 3s and 4s for ELA. Fifth grade, we had a 5% increase. Sixth grade, a 7% increase in levels 3 and 4. Seventh grade, a 6% increase in level 3 and 4. And eighth grade, we did just a little bit there. We need to work on that. And American Lit stayed the same. So another thing that we look at is where are we just vertically? So if we put all of those grade levels together, it's interesting to see where we are and also to look at where were we pre-pandemic, and we can see that we're edging back to where we were and we're continuing to take ground. And that's what we really want to do, is how can we press forward? Yes, we want to take back where we were, but we really want to continue to increase that performance. So that's just kind of a summary slide there to show you vertically with all the grade levels included, how we're doing on ELA. Any questions before we move on to math or anything?
Well, I just wanted to make a statement. I did notice, because I studied this before I came tonight, and I've noticed that, of course, our last year fourth graders, the year before, then they were the fifth graders, and in most of the cases, those same group of kids made progress. But in some areas, we had some that didn't make progress. So I'm sure y'all have addressed that, and you're looking at those, so we don't compare apples to oranges.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So we dug into that at our summer leadership retreat, and we did dig into that cohort data, and we really encouraged schools and supported them also in looking at that. And so sometimes you do recognize those groups where.
Because, we have some groups that just struggle, and so they need the extra help. I know y'all know how to do that. So,
yes, but a great noticing for sure. All right, so moving on with math, we also had some really great increases in math. As you know, this year we have the rollout of new standards in math, but over the past year with math, we've really been digging into our standards, preparing for the rollout of these new standards, and really looking at our resources, and just as we are with everything, making sure that we have clarity in the instructional resources. We did do some work in this past year at the elementary level with kind of piloting some common assessments, and it really has paid off for us. So we're very excited about how that's affirmed that practice, and we can continue to move on with that. So moving through our math progress here in third grade math, we had an increase of 6% in our students at proficient and above, proficient and distinguished learner level 3 and 4. Fourth grade, we had an increase of 2%. Fifth grade, an increase of 4% there. Sixth grade, we increased 3%. And then in seventh grade, we stayed the same. Eighth grade, we took a dip. And algebra 1, we took a pretty significant dip there. So those are areas where we're really digging in. We've done a lot of work this summer with digging into those standards. We've had Casey Maddox come out and help us at the secondary level, Cyan Holt at the elementary level, but really digging into looking at alignment, looking at the resources that all of our teachers are using. So we definitely have a plan moving forward, because we expect that to really significantly increase. That's something that we're very focused on.
Can you, for the no education background, can you explain how you do that? What does that look like?
Well, this summer we had design teams. So we invited teachers to come in, and we really dug into, let's look at the resources that we've been using in the past. Let's make sure that we're all using resources that are highly aligned to the standards. So it really starts with understanding the standards. And over the past year, we've been doing a lot of work with the Understanding by Design framework, which really takes teachers through looking at what do we want our students to know based on the standard, what do they need to know, how will we know when they've learned that, what will be the success indicator. So that's looking at the assessment side of that. And then what are we going to do for those students who either aren't learning it or are above. So that's really the core work of that design team. But over the summer, they met to establish those curriculum resources. So if I'm a new teacher coming in, I'm not just searching the internet for resources and teaching what I think is best. I now have a really high quality resource that's vetted by that whole design team. So we know that that will pay off, and all work like that, it takes time. So I'm not going to stand here or sit here and tell you that next year, necessarily we'll be where we want to be, but we know that when you stick to really high quality instructional work over time, that will pay off. So we're excited about that.
So, but is there one-on-one work with those teachers that may need that time as
That's
well?
where it
or?
trickles down to the building level. So
Yeah.
then the next layer of this is schools are also digging into their data,
Right.
and they're establishing their own school improvement plans, and we go out and that's where really our instructional specialists do work one-on-one with those teachers. So under the direction of the building leaders, we can get to that level of let's really work with those teachers where we're seeing that we're not getting the results, and making sure that they have everything that they need to be successful, which in turn makes our students successful.
Well, and just like new teachers, they have mentors that work with them that entire school year, and that makes a huge difference. And I mean, I'm delighted to hear what you reported, earlier at another board meeting about what y'all have been doing. And I just know for brand new teachers that are just teaching or just beginning to teach, or ones that have just moved into our system, to have that kind of work already prepared for them is simply amazing. So I was thrilled to death for our teachers' sake, because I've been there and done that, and it's hard when you're digging it by yourself.
And our teachers are very excited about it. For teachers to come and give up a week or 2 weeks of their summer and to say this is the best work we've ever done, it's really affirming. And they're excited because they recognize when you're a veteran teacher working with a new teacher and you recognize that there's a gap in those resources, it doesn't feel good. So they're very excited about that. So we are excited about continuing forward, and as we move into the year, we'll support that implementation. And our kind of mantra as a teaching and learning team is we're not doing anything new, we're just supporting the implementation now of this great work that we've been doing. So
Exciting work.
The same thing got to do with the common assessment work of, in third grade, there's a common assessment in the ELA that all the kids are taking at a similar time. And then those individual schools are looking at that data to compare how kids are doing across the schools, how teachers are doing, just giving us good feedback to see how we're progressing.
So the teachers graded off of these scores as well? I mean, I know we're testing our students, but are we also, that may be a bad question to ask, but.
Well, it's certainly a part of what building leaders will talk about with teachers. So, in that summative conference, and sometimes we don't have all of the data in, but absolutely that's something that, leaders are working with teachers continually to make sure that they're getting the results that they should be with students and that their work is paying off. So there are lots of indicators, and this is one of them, but it's an important one. And we know when we're doing the right work and there's the right experience in the classroom, it's going to pay off here too.
Well, and I would like to just add one more thing, because I do know that, like when teachers go through evaluations, if we find weaknesses, and we have some weaknesses, then those are addressed, and our administrators then work with those teachers to bring them up. They're given many opportunities, to be successful. So that's very important, and I'm thankful that we do that here.
You mentioned something about standards. I think it was Ms. Todd said in one of the past meetings when they were talking about new hires and setting those standards. There was one of the slides that we did about the technology of what the teachers' resources are. And so those new teachers are looking at that, correct me if I'm wrong, they're looking at the same resources and the same standards of what we're teaching. And so you guys are using the best of the best, our best teachers, to create those standards. So, I just appreciate what that means and for the new teachers that are coming in to do that. So I just want to point
And
that out.
that's exactly what we want to do, is where we're getting, where we have that teacher who's really getting that high growth and achievement, let's make sure that we're sharing all of those resources and the instructional strategies. And that's what happens in those weekly professional learning communities or those course team meetings, where you get that group of 5 teachers together and they build trust, and then they can be vulnerable and say, okay, my kids didn't do as well on this. What did you do that I didn't do? And we have those conversations. So that's really the goal that we're working to within that level at this school.
Thanks, Dr. Hardy.
All right, rolling on through science here. We have some continued work to do in science. We didn't quite see the progress that we want to, and sometimes at the elementary level we do get pretty focused on literacy and math, and we feel good about the work we've done this summer to establish common assessments now in science as well as thinking about how can we continually maximize our instructional time to really integrate the science into our reading and our writing, because we know that students learn at a level. When they're writing about the content, they're reading about the content, and it's very connected. So that has been much of the work over the summer to think about how can we work smarter that way and really work towards integration. So just moving through these science scores, you'll see that in 5th grade, we had a little dip there, 1%, a dip in 8th grade as well. We went up 1 percentage point in biology and of course. And then finally with social studies, which was just tested at the 8th grade level and high school level, we did have an increase of 6% in 8th grade social studies. And that's an area where we put a resource in place where we realized that that resource was missing, and then we were able to establish that. So it's good to see that our scores have increased there. Had a little dip in U.S. history. And I think we recognize at the secondary level when you have a change from a significant change back to block scheduling, that there's some work to do with really using that instructional time and supporting teachers in that. So we are very excited about where we are moving into this year. There's been some changes to make sure that course teams are scheduled in such a way that they'll have collaborative planning time and have that opportunity to look at common assessments. So that continues to be an area of focus for us, is to support that. And then looking at our graduation rate, we're holding steady there. Actually have a little bit of an increase from last year in some areas. So that has continued to stay strong. We're glad about that. And then we have our AP and our IB data. So it's really great to see that for AP, we're increasing both the number of test takers across the district, as well as the percentage of students who are scoring a 3 and higher on AP exams. And that also continues to be a focus, to really establish that strong expectation for our students who are taking an AP course to take the exam, and then also just to continue to increase access and give students the confidence that that's something that they can do, and to build that level for grade there. So good improvements there that we plan to continue to support. And then as far as IB goes, we also have an increase in number of exams given with a good steady pass rate continuing. Look, pass rate dipped just a little bit, but we had quite a few more exams given. And then looking at diploma candidates, it's a pretty significant challenge. If you think about what it takes to graduate with that IB diploma, it's taking 6 IB subjects and passing those exams, and that 4,000-word essay, I think is what it is, the extended essay, the research, the project. So I know they're very proud of those graduates that do reach that diploma level for IB. So that is an overview of many celebrations and targets that we've hit. A couple of other things that weren't in there but were in our balanced scorecard, looking at our students with disabilities. Graduating within that 4-year graduation cohort has increased pretty significantly, as well as our students with disabilities completing pathways, and that's something that we continue to focus on as well. So we're excited to bring you some great celebrations and very much appreciate your support of that continued instructional work.
Well, we appreciate that. Are you going to share that with us also?
Yes, I will share that with you. I'm sorry, I thought that was linked in the presentation, but I'll make sure you have a copy of the DONS book.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Schultz.
Well, good evening. Hi. I appreciate you taking the time this evening. One of the things through CTAE is every year, it's federal law that we go through the approval process by the Board of Education for our Perkins local application. So it's really kind of giving you the information, telling you what we go through and everything for our process. One of the first things, and I'm not going to have some really good reading if you want to look at it, and that there's about 70 pages here of data and things that we do, but it's the comprehensive local needs assessment, and the information that's in here, we get it from our community data, from our Chamber of Commerce. Our Georgia Power also shares a lot of data with us on people moving in, out of the county, lots of different things about who we are and what makes up our community. We also look and we work with our advisory groups on each one of our programs that we have at our high schools. And we talk to them about specific things, needs and assessments, and really where are we at and where we need for that. And we work closely with our business industry, just similar to the folks that came here this evening, as if we get input from there and how we need to improve or where we need to possibly update certain things. So that's part of this comprehensive local needs assessment that we put together This next year we'll actually be redoing the whole thing, so we're working on putting another one for next year. But again, we look at that. It also has inside here we look at data. Where are we at? How are we doing? Some of the data that we have is a little bit lag behind, but so this is kind of for this past year's data, just to kind of tell you. Some of the things that we look at is industry certification. Last year we really put in one of our focuses in our programs is that we want to get industry certified. It is a 2-year process. Instructors have to go through some beginning process, they turn in an application, and then we go in through the industry certification. Last year our construction program went through their industry certified. This year right now all of our ag programs at the high schools are going through industry certification, and then our audio, video, technology, and film is also going through industry certification. Next year, the remaining ones will be going through their industry certification. And some of the state, the industry certification is actually driven by folks from the state, and they have organizations that come in, and there's a lot of time and work that the teachers go through. So I commend each one of the programs that go through this. One of the things too, we've also focused on our career technical student organization. And as you know, being COVID, people forgot how to become active there for a while. So it kind of pulled us back a little bit. But last year, I'm proud to say, the state has a minimum of 10% of all the students in all your programs have to be part of a CTSO, a paid membership. We call them CTSO, it's Career Technical Student Organizations. CTSOs are actually different than extracurricular activities too. In all of our CTA classes, they're actually intercurricular, which means that we teach about our CTSOs in our curriculum in each one of our classes. That's really the leadership component that goes along with CTA. One of the goals we said we're going to increase this year. Our ag is at 100% membership, so every student that's in an ag class is a member of the FFA. But you can see on each one of the pieces that are a part of the programs that are right beside them about the program affiliation. This next year, it's our goal. We're going from 10%, we're going to go to 20%. So actually our teachers and that stuff are going to have a minimum of 20% of our students paid. We do fundraising, we do things. Any student, if they cannot afford to pay for it, we are going to help those students get involved, because we want them to get involved, because you can take that information from courses and really gain so much leadership development skills and things that you can just improve them all the way around. Really good students. Some data here. This is really, I'm excited. You'll see a little thing on the next piece, but this past year was the very first year since COVID that our into pathways actually counted. Because of COVID, kids didn't have to actually take the assessment. It was just one of those things because of testing, lots of things going on in the world. So last year we actually did it, and we actually had a 65.07% pass rate on our into pathway assessments. And some of these, and I can break it down for you and show you if you ever are interested on some of those too. Those are assessments where students can actually go out into the industry and get credentials. They're phlebotomy technicians, pharmacy technicians. I mean, there's so many different things. So we are working on getting that pass rate up as high as we can possibly get it. And that's something all of our teachers need to be commended on, really helping their kids and matching the pathways what the kids could really do on later on. On the second page in that stuff, we do the overarching needs. And this is also in the CLNA. This is where we have to focus all of our budget's amounts to prove that we're putting money towards these things. And you can read those. We're really talking about getting students with true credentials. Some of the OPAs aren't very good. We understand that they're not really worth as much. We want those where kids could say, I've got this certification, and a company would say, that's really important, and we appreciate it. OSHA 10, some of those, we've even talked about Six Sigma, some of those type of things. Those are not EOPAs, but they will help students, and we're addressing those as we can work with our business and industries. We're talking about transition to kids. That's always really important for our middle schools. I commend our middle schools in our county for really working with our 8th graders. We bring all of those to tour all of our CTA pathways and really try to help focus on what pathways those kids want to be in. We're working with disabilities, students with disabilities, trying to get more students with disabilities in our work-based learning programs and some of those things too. I encourage you, please take a look at that new information. And if you have any questions, that's going to run. Yes, sir.
I do. So number 4 there, teachers need more industry workforce experience.
Very good. That's a good question. And excited. What we actually did this year, and we had some of our teachers actually participated in externships. And it's actually a goal. And it wasn't just our CTA teachers too. This past year, we actually worked with Georgia Power and some of the other folks, and we had, I'm trying to think, 9 teachers that went through, I believe, in externships through them. Plus, we actually had some other teachers went on externships that wasn't even in that program. I'm thinking about our law and public safety pathway we just started this past year. She literally went to she worked with police officers in the county, the fire department, and she went with, ambulatory systems. She was really trying to help make sure that what she was going to teach those students was relevant and important for our students. And so we're going to encourage all of our teachers to continually doing those externships. And we want to get teachers, we've kind of based it a lot off the middle and high school, but we would love to get more teachers, even from in the elementary school, opportunities to get them to work for industries. I believe someone even went to Solmax and Kubota and things like that over the summer.
So do any of our teachers have previous work experience in these industries?
Very good, and that's a good question too. And that's it's very unique, and it's been really good at Empower. There's probably about half and half of teachers and that have actually been in industry, and teachers that have gone through an educational process to get where they're at. So with that blend, it's kind of nice because you get a gain from both. One of the biggest challenges you have of folks coming from industries is they don't know how to teach all the time.
Yes.
I mean, they know the material, they know the content, but how to deliver it. And it's been really nice. Our teachers have actually been working with the UBD process and that, and really studying the standards. And that's helping our teachers really come together and making plans and really looking at those assessments. So not only is it helping academics, we really feel that the CTA will also have that. And that should help as we start doing more and more of these certifications that we see too.
Yes. It's very valuable, I think, to have somebody with that real world experience, because they may, though the guy writing the textbook may have that experience. It's and
we just gotta help them.
Myself going through those programs, having someone with that experience makes all the difference in the world.
And some of our teachers may not have all the experience, and that's where we send them to the companies, and that really helps with them too. And it builds those connections when they do their advisory groups too. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, one last quick item from Teaching and Learning. Recently at the July State Board of Education meeting, the board approved to change the statewide passing score rule, that's the end of course assessment grade equivalent, from 20% to 10% being the minimum. So after talking with all of our secondary leaders, they all were in agreement that it would be beneficial to our students to reduce the end of course weighting from 20% back to 10%, which is what final exams typically are. So they felt like that was nice to have that just be in alignment across the school in terms of that final exam or end of course counting 10%. So we wanted to bring that to you. It historically has not been in our policy to write in the percent, so it's not something for approval, but if you have any questions or concerns or would like to discuss that, we wanted to update you on that. And then the recommendation is just to follow that state board ruling on that and to define that in our grading procedures for our secondary leaders, students, and students. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks much.
Ms. Todd?
Good evening. I am happy to report that all of our classrooms are covered in terms of our certified staff, and even more excited to report that our classified vacancies are literally a handful. Our school nutrition staff is fully staffed at the moment and in the position for where they are actually reaching out and trying to hire additional to prepare for heroes. So we are in a wonderful spot. We have a few custodial positions to fill, but when I say a few, 1 or 2. And I think that is a testament to your approval of our salary increases, because we have been able to recruit and hire for those key positions, and we are sitting in a position this year that we were not last year. So thank you for that, and thank you to our directors who have been busy recruiting and hiring, and our principals as well for hiring in their buildings. We're monitoring our enrollment, and we know, as you'll see in a few minutes with the enrollment report, that we anticipate that we'll have to look at our class sizes and make sure that we are staffing appropriately there. We have been meeting with principals this week to make sure we're planning for that. But we also want to wait for that 10-day count, because we want to make sure after 10 days we see kind of the plateau, I guess, if you will, of who's withdrawing and no-shows and all of that. So we are monitoring enrollment and looking at how that'll impact our positions at schools, but we are also making sure we're being proactive and having a plan in place. So personnel update is good, and you will see a report tonight of those last hires that we need to go ahead and get approved. Thank you.
Mr. Lester?
Good evening. You may have heard that our county is growing. And, we can confirm as of the first day enrollment that that is the case for our schools as well. And we saw an enrollment at 10,628 on Thursday of last week. Of course, that number is growing and diminishing based off of withdrawals and enrollments as we move through this week and through the first 10 days. But we'll get a clearer picture on day 10 typically of where we really are in terms of that. But it's certainly a number that's there for you. You can see the enrollment report is there for you on the screen. I've added just a few statistics there just to kind of give you some percentages so you can see how things play out. Overall, we're growing at least 5.2%. We think that will be higher as we get into the fall as of right now. But some of our schools are certainly above that and some are a little bit below. Jackson County High School, 12.9% increase in enrollment from last year to this year. East Jackson Elementary School, 10.2%. East Jackson High School, the 8 through 12 there, 6.7% enrollment increase, so it's significant there. When you look at it this year, our middle schools didn't grow that much, at least not as of right now. Only 12 students increased at our three middle schools, excuse me. We saw high schools right now are getting the brunt of the growth at 10.3%. Elementary schools are growing at 4.6%. So we're seeing students arrive, and we'll see more over the next few weeks. And so we even get sometimes that little post-Labor Day bump where some folks from up north who aren't used to starting school before Labor Day, they decide to join us after that point. So we anticipate this number is going to increase as we move forward throughout the year. But what you thought was happening is exactly what we see is happening. Jackson County is continuing to grow, and we're grateful for this opportunity to work with each other. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you have any questions, certainly be happy to try to answer.
Well, I was just curious about the pre-K at Empower. Did we lose a pre-K classroom there?
We haven't. What that is those are the students that are special ed students in pre-K, and so Child Find is working through that process now. We're getting those referrals, and that class will grow to be very similar in size over the next few weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
So it's early for that to kind of give us the number out as of day one. But that program will continue to be similar to what it is now. It may not be exactly 71, but it won't be much.
And just remind me, how many preschool classrooms did we have last year? Did we have 2 or 3 last year?
I believe it's 3 or 4.
We had 2 last year. We've grown to 3.
And we've grown to 3 this year. Okay. All right.
I believe those will be needed.
Yeah. Okay.
I
imagine. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Any other questions about that data? All right. Well, good. The second thing on my portion here tonight, I just wanted to touch base with you about some athletic and professional learning. We certainly have learned here from Dr. Hardegree and through the efforts of our teaching and learning staff and our student services staff that our folks get professional learning in a lot of different ways, right? In their course areas, in their content area, in ways to help our students do social emotional things and those. But for our athletic coaches, we haven't really focused on them in some ways to help give them some opportunities to master different areas of their craft and to gain expertise and some training. So we're trying to open up that opportunity for them this year and give them some areas that they might be able to gain some greater knowledge and understanding to help their student athletes that they're working with. So we're starting that this year, and our first session will take place next Wednesday. And from 6:45 to 7:30 at the Empower Center. And we'll be inviting Miss Tamika Watts from the UGA Performance Nutrition Department. And she'll be addressing our coaches and our athletic departments, just sharing some ideas about how our athletes can utilize nutrition in ways that will help them to maximize their health and their performance for the future and also for now. And she'll talk about how UGA does that and give our coaches, some ideas potentially on how they can support their athletes through nutrition. And by guiding them and helping them, we can't necessarily tell them exactly what to eat all the time, but we can certainly help them to see if they want to make that type of progress to be optimized in their performance. Nutrition is a critical piece to that. And so she'll be helping our folks to better realize how they can support our students that way. And each month here in the fall, we'll look at some ways that we can help support our coaches. We'll have at least 2 of those sessions this semester and 2 more in the spring, we believe, to bring people together. The first one is performance nutrition. Our second session next month, we hope, will be on how to better utilize social media and marketing so that our programs and student athletes can be highlighted in different ways through each of the programs that are supportive of our coaches. So those are 2 things we're looking at in the fall. We'll look at some other areas that we can support our coaches as we move forward throughout the year. But we're excited about that opportunity to give our coaches a chance to kind of learn how they can expand, right, and enhance their interaction with our young people. Any questions about that? Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, have we ever done this before?
I do not have any recollection of us doing something like that. So.
Well, I'd like to say kudos to you. That's outstanding for our coaches. They work very hard and they deserve that support. They are teachers as well, so we tend to forget that coaches are teachers. So
that's right.
Anything we can do to help them, that's great.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it for me.
Scott?
Oh, well, we're going to start with some good, fun information first. We'll look at SPLOST, and as you see, we're down just a little bit from last month. Not too bad. It's really starting to level out. I think we're not having any significant decreases or declines. We're very much in line with the various comparisons, whether it's month over month or year over year, and our 12-month average is still right around the 1.15 mark, which is what we've kind of based all of our future predictions on for our upcoming projects. So SPLOST is looking very good, and we're getting very close to finishing up and finalizing and making our last few payments on Legacy Knowles. So then we'll be done with that, and then the rest of those funds will be available for us to get going on Heroes.
When is that SPLOST voted on?
When is the next one?
Yes. When did we last vote? When was the last vote on the SPLOST, and then when is it again?
Well, we haven't determined, I don't think, when our next one's going to be. We will probably need to do it sooner than later just because of our collection levels. It's very possible that we will hit the max collection amount before the 5-year term's up.
Okay. So it's every 5 years, is that?
Mm-hmm.
So is it?
How many years has it been that we've been in this one?
We just voted on SPLOST this past cycle, right?
Mm-hmm. It just started.
So yeah, we just voted on this last election.
Yeah, it started a year ago. A year ago, May, I think, was our first collection on it. So I mean, yeah, we're just a little over a year in, but our.
So will you explain that to me though? So if we're allowed to have $100 in SPLOST, we collect that $100, we have to vote again. Okay.
Yes, and so what you plan is that you go ahead and vote early enough that if it were to cap out monetarily,
right,
that the collection would just continue.
Okay.
There wouldn't be a lag.
Okay.
So we will. I'm sure in the upcoming months we'll be discussing that along with other.
So that's you said that's a 5-year deal, and so that's only been a year. So do you feel like it's going to need to go on the next cycle election ballot, or should it be next year, or do we call special? How does that work? A special election, or do we go on a regular ballot?
No, you have to do it at either a primary or general election. You have to do it in March or November. That's state law now. You can't call a special election just to vote for a bond or SPLOST. So it would need to be probably in the next year or so that we consider putting that back on the ballot.
and we are the largest school district in the county, and so
So we determine.
Commerce and Jefferson depend on us to make the decision on when to have the vote.
What's our max number that we collect in this?
60 million for us. Overall, it's 100 million for the all three school districts. And we're collecting pretty quick. So
I like the SPOS. Yeah, we need to continue to keep that going, like you said.
yes. But our results and the support for our SPOS referendums have been tremendous. Like each time that we've had one, it's the approval percentage has increased significantly. I think the last one was over 70% approval. So it's a great thing for school systems.
It is, it's fair, in my opinion, it's fair.
Yes. So then if we want to look at our financials for the first month of the school year, we are looking good. We are right in line with our, we're a little, with the open purchase orders, we're a little bit over. We should be about at 8%. We've had 8% completion of the year, and we're at 9%, but that includes open purchase requests, which are just, they're sitting out there. They've not been paid. But if you take those out, we are right at 8% of our expenditures. So we're right in line, and that's really pretty tremendous for this time of year, because so much stuff happens at the beginning. All your renewals and instructional platforms and software and insurances, and there's just many things that it's a one-time expense, and it's at the beginning of the year. So the fact that we're in line is very good. And of course our revenues at this point are not going to be in line, because we won't really start seeing a significant amount of property taxes until
December, January.
November, December. Yes.
But we're looking good, so we
Yes.
don't have to worry about what we used to have to worry about, borrowing money to make
Correct.
payroll.
Correct.
So that's a very positive.
Yes, and we Dr. Brown and I we looked at it the other day, and even if we had to dip into fund balance $5 million a month above and beyond our state revenue, which is again it's not shocking from June to July, because again you've got all your startup and you've got mobiles being set up. We had mobiles being taken off the property, and so there were just a lot of larger expenses at the first of the year. So it's highly unlikely that we're going to dip into our fund balance of $5 million each month. But even if we did, we would still be in the black. We would be in a positive fund balance situation.
It's a good thing.
Yes, and we are ending this month with above where we ended last month. This time last year. So we are in a great financial situation. Any questions about that? Well, then let's get to the fun stuff. So our next topic is our millage, and you've got provided the basically the schedule for when hearings, budget hearings, millage rate hearings, those kind of things, just so that you can keep that, you would have that easily available. It will also be posted in any advertisements that we have to do for the millage rate. So you have that schedule. And then the next form is what's known as the PT32 form. And this is basically the form that calculates and takes into account your last year's digest, this year's digest, reassessments, and then calculates what they call a rollback rate. And that rollback rate is what would be levied for us to collect the exact amount of taxes that we had collected the previous year. So this form then shows that millage rate amount, but then also shows you what the difference is between that rollback and what we're recommending the millage rate to be for this upcoming year. And Then the next document is our amended budget, and this is the information and updates and adjustments based on the start of the year, enrollment, our recommended property tax collections for the millage rate that we're going to recommend. And you can also see that there's a pretty significant amount that has been included in there for finishing up Heroes Elementary. And we knew that we did not want to have to incur any debt on this facility, and so we knew that the general fund was going to have to contribute some to the completion of that building. So that amount is included in there, and it will help support finishing and getting that new facility going. And so this is our 5-year history, 5-year digest history, and as you can see, the amount, the collection amount, the percent change, all that information is again based on the millage rate that we are recommending for this upcoming year, which is 15.495. And it is an increase of tax revenue that would be generated, but again, this is to help support the growth, because again, between this time last year and this year, we're 1,100 students, almost 1,200 more than what we had, which is a full middle school worth of kids. So those are things that aren't necessarily funded by the state, or at least not immediately, and we have to make sure that we have the funds to take care of that growth and that enrollment, and we have the facilities for those kids, and we have the teachers for those kids.
Well, and this sort of goes back to what Cameron was saying too about possible new hires, and I'm not sure everybody really understands that as we grow and say we have to hire 5 more teachers this school year, the state's not going to help us with one thing. We have to pay that out of our own pockets here in Jackson County. And then next year, they will reimburse us. But we got to pay up front. Nobody's going to help us take care of them this year. So.
And for the past several years, because of our level of growth, even when we get those state funding adjustments, it's still in arrears because we've already grown another 500-600 kids on top of that. So it just doesn't. The state funding just absolutely does not keep up with the level of growth that our county's seeing.
No.
And then also, it's not advertised, or it's not required to be on any of these reports. But our recommendation for the bond millage is also lower. It's going to be we recommend 2.6. So both millage rates will be reduced. Yes.
I have a question. Based on our budget last year for the school year, the budget per student with the growth versus what this new millage rate would be, how does that compare per student wise? Basically, a cost per student to educate.
Yes,
is that higher or lower?
So not necessarily just cost, because I mean our expense, which you can look at it, revenue and expense, because they're very much in line. We have a balanced budget. So the amount that we budgeted in revenue last year per student is almost $400 more than what this amount of revenue would generate because of our growth. It was about $12,400 per student, and with this recommended millage rate and the revenue it would generate, it'd be right around $12,000 per student that we'd be generating.
So that's significant that we're paying less.
Yeah, that is less. We're generating less revenue. Yeah. We've got more students, but because of that, because we have so many more students, that revenue is spread out, and it's less.
Yeah. And we've got kids with many more needs now.
Yes, yes,
And with our growth.
our special ed population and our non-English speaking population is
Exactly.
it is skyrocketing. It's shocking how many kids are in our system that don't speak English.
Yeah. And I do remember, since I'm the oldest one, I've been on the board the longest, I am the oldest too, but anyway, I mean, I remember when we would hire more teachers in anticipation, you know, and then sometimes we'd be all right, and sometimes we wouldn't be all right.
Right.
But it appears that everybody has been very, very cautious with tax dollars to make sure that we do not overestimate and that we do not overspend.
Yes.
But
you
with
could look
this
at our
growth
class sizes
coming,
right now, and you could see
Yeah.
that there are some areas that
we're gonna have to hire
really
some more teachers. We're gonna have to hire them, and all of that is very expensive.
Yes.
Just like the benefits, the package that we have to
state
pay.
health
to the state.
that has increased
Yeah.
significantly
State
that we have no control over. We don't
That's right.
control what we pay the state. They determine that at the state level, and then we just have to send the money.
That's right.
I do have a question. With the millage rates and the tax assessment letters that were sent out in the spring, what have we been working on as far as senior tax relief, like homestead exemptions, etc.?
We have been collaborating and talking about it. We are definitely in support of a change to help our seniors. We're still analyzing and looking at those amounts and you know what those amounts would be for each age level, and if, you know, whether or not there'd be an income stipulation or not. But that it's pretty time consuming, and we just want to make sure that we do the best for the seniors, but we also do the best for our kids. So we're trying to balance both of those things and make sure that we give relief to the seniors without it having a detrimental impact on our kids or
Not only kids, but
or the other
the
taxpayers.
rest of the community as well.
Right, that's not a tremendous tax shift. So we are looking into that, and we will be in the near future bringing something for your consideration.
And of course, it's just a recommendation that we can only make.
Yes,
we don't have that authority or that
correct.
power.
Correct. All we do is say, hey, we say we're supporting this.
Yes.
We're giving this. This is what we can support. This is what we feel like we can do.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the legislature first.
Yes.
For them to even approve it at that level, and then once they approve it, then a question can be put on the ballot, and the voters, the local citizens, have to vote to approve that change.
Yeah.
It was my understanding we were going to do a resolution for this Monday night. It was going to be ready. Is that incorrect now? Are we waiting, or?
But we have some information. If you'd be happy to share it with you. Yeah.
I'm just wondering when we're going to do this, because I'm sure our seniors want to know, and I want to know.
Sure.
Because I know we talked about it. We need to, again, first step is us telling the legislature, here's what we support. And I've told all of you, the voters supported, I'm in support of it. They have the voters eventually have to decide.
Right.
That's
So
right.
we need to give them that opportunity. It has to start, according to our state legislators, it has to start with us. So I'm ready to get down to Atlanta and let them go to work.
That's right.
Mr. Schofield, you're up.
Thank you, Dr. Brown Ford. It's great to be have the opportunity to bring some items to you tonight. It's been a great start to the school year. You know, we're on day 6, and we've got a lot going on. I can be very proud of our school nutrition staff, our facility maintenance staff. Done a great job. Transportation, got to give us 10 days. That's our rule. We've seen great strides since day one. Day one in transportation is always a challenge in the community throughout. Our community doesn't like buses on the roads because it clogs our roads. But our main focus is to get kids to and from school safely. We can say we've certainly met that goal at this time. So very proud of that, proud of the work of those people. I'd like to just say thanks to all of our school staffs and those people on the opening up car doors at our schools, our teachers, our administrators. A lot goes into the first few weeks of school getting everything settled. And I can't say enough about what a great job's going on there. We're there watching. Dr. Brown opens a lot of doors. I'm normally watching. But as a staff, all of our directors have been there supporting the schools. It's great to see that effort by our county office folks. So say a lot there, be proud to be a part of the team. Got a few monthly project updates I'd like to bring forth, and I've also got some updates from school nutrition, and I've also got one board item that's going to need to be approved by you all as far as a bid that was given on the gym roof we're talking about. The monthly project updates. I don't know that the first slide is a great slide to show, but it's reality. We had to add some mobiles to some of our elementaries. Here's a picture of 4 classrooms at West Elementary. We added 2 classrooms at North Jackson with 2 restroom pods as well, because that was our hardship. The numbers there, we just didn't have the restroom facilities to accommodate the growth at North Jackson. So I think they have kind of met some needs there. We also added 4 portables at Gum Springs. Keep in mind, our portables are they're temporary. We hope to have those off of our elementary campuses next year. As many of those as possible, as Heroes is expected to open next fall. So that will be an exciting time to see those pulled off. Here's some pictures of Legacy Knoll. It's exciting to have our ribbon cutting last week. Those are exciting times. It's been a great week, a great 6 days at Legacy Knoll. A lot of excitement there. Challenges of car riders and challenges of loading buses. They won about a 15-minute monsoon right when we loaded buses. That was exciting. And the challenges there are, you have 650 kids at that school the first day. Some are car riders, maybe half of them are bus riders. They've never been to bus loading before. And every other school, many of the kids knew where the buses were going to be, knew how to load and how to unload. There were some challenges there that those hurdles we jumped over, learned. Day 1, it was 5 o'clock after a 15 or 20 minute delay, lightning and everything. Today it was 4:06 or 4:05, 20 minutes, they were loaded and gone. So we're excited about those things. We just know we're getting better. So the next thing, just to understand, final punch list at that facility will be completed soon. Subs are working after hours and weekends on those items. Of course, Carol Daniels overseeing that. Heroes Elementary is the next project that we're excited about. You're going to see much growth, the progress there on Monday night as we do that groundbreaking ceremony. We're excited about that, but you're going to see the erosion control measures are in, pipe installation. You're going to see the concrete foundations being laid. A lot of excitement. We've got some pictures on those next slides. This is what it looked like earlier in the week. It changes every day.
That's just a footer? Is that a retaining wall?
That should be the retaining wall, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
How tall is that wall?
It's almost.
That's one of the biggest footers I've ever seen.
It's going to be a large facility. So, yeah, we're excited about things going on there. You know, challenges, rain, holds us back. Those storms that come through certainly, put challenges before us, but everyone's working extremely hard to stay on task and to keep the progress going on those facilities. There's some other pictures there of the work that's being completed. Any questions about Heroes? It is exciting. Like I said, I look forward to Monday night. David and his team are there on a daily basis, kind of overseeing things. Erosion control is certainly big on that site. We're keeping a really close eye on that. Still can't say enough positive things about our supervisor, Carol Daniel, who will be on that job. We finished up Legacy Knoll, continue working with. We're excited about that progress. Next item is this will be an action item for you all to approve. Last December, I don't think Mr. Farmer had officially taken over facilities. A real severe storm came through here. I'm not sure if it was classified as a tornado. The roof was torn off this gym facility during the Christmas holidays. David and his staff, Mr. Farmer and his staff, were diligent and patched those repairs. We were able to actually call Carol Daniel and said, "Who can we get over here quick to help us repair the roof?" Just because of our relationship with them, we were able to get a roofer off that job. To patch this as an emergency effort, but then at some point we had to work with our insurance company to put it out for bid and go through the process. So we've been working on that since that time. We hired Southern A&E to do the work, the architectural work. They helped us put out a bid. It was a competitive sealed proposal, and I think we provided that information for you. There were about 8 bids provided on that bid opening, which we were very pleased with. The low bid was, who was it, Mr. Farmer? Pro Services. At $304,000. We also will have I had worked with the insurance company, and we anticipate a pretty good payoff on that. So very pleased with that bid. Came in a little lower really than what we expected. Sometimes that competition helps us. So I'm excited about that. We would like your approval on this. David's team vetted it with the help of our architectural team, and very pleased with the work they had done there. So, any questions about that? Yes, sir.
So that's a big difference in their price to the next one. So did we do change orders?
No, sir. We will be watching that because they both were concerned. That's why I saw that he vetted that, make sure that they understood what we expected, and they accepted it. Yes, I'll be right there.
I know that. And I appreciate you. I'm glad you're doing what you do.
Mr. Holland, let me say this. We said the same thing. We asked the same questions. We called ahead. This is the company that helped us with the work before, so they were familiar with the facility. Maybe that helped them with that. But we made sure we vetted.
Is it LVL? LVL? What's the roof? TPO. What? In Mills, everybody did the same mill thickness. Everybody.
Everything was spec'd out through the RFP. We even had a pre-construction meeting where they had access to on the roof, looked to make sure they knew what was going to be done and was expected of them. There is a contingency there just in case there is any moisture. We did have a moisture test done on that installation, so everything was there.
This is a complete tear off. A complete tear off, not
yes,
a
sir. Complete tear off. Everything goes back on the existing installation on top of the thing to stay. We'll be adding another board on top of that to bring up that factor. It's complete tear off.
We included the bid and the information on that in the report.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but being in construction industry, that's a huge difference, and
Sure.
it's a pretty eye-opening. And if that's a good bid, that's great, but that also is concerning that all those other ones are better. So
We just know we hold them to the fire and make them accountable for the work.
Got it.
So we're pleased with that. If it wasn't a company we're familiar with and it doesn't work in our county on other facilities, we'd be a little more, shy about it. But because of that, and because Mike Wall Billing with Southern A&E vetted it and vetted that they were meeting the specs,
sure.
We feel comfortable.
They have their own crews.
Yes, sir, they do.
So, I know I'm trying to get to the football game in the bouncy house, but we used a different vendor for the roof of the building that I work in, and they sub out everything. So if they have their own crews, that's going to be a pretty big cost saving. Plus, anyway, I like that. So
I like the process.
Yes.
The bid process fit the design model of the work. So we felt very comfortable with that. So With that being said, the next item is an item for information only. There is a school nutrition that worked with the Georgia Department of Ed, and we're awarded a cooperative agreement with USDA marketing service to administer a local food to school program. It's $5,000. It's a minimal amount of money, but it can help our staff kind of integrate homegrown foods into our lunchrooms. Very positive things. I appreciate Ms. Blake's work there, bringing that into. We already do a lot of school to tables. That local food, we're already using some of that in our system. This kind of enhances that process. So we're excited about that. Just want you all to be aware of what's going on. I'd be remiss not to say safety and security. Mr. Kent's done an awesome job for 6 days. There have been many challenges in 6 days. It continues to be a focus in our schools, and I think we've stepped that up. And I can just say I appreciate the efforts he's done. We know of the situation day one at Jackson County High. Day 3 or 4, there was some activity in the northern part of our county with an escapee or a felon on the roads there. And the use of GPS on our buses helped us tremendously to alert our bus drivers of those who we knew where they were, could alert them, pull them over, talk to them. And law enforcement helped them through that, so we got kids home safely. It's a huge effort on everybody's part, but give a lot of credit to Jason for the things he's done, raising that bar on safety and security across our district. Questions or concerns? I appreciate your awesome work. Thank you.
All right, so we do have a need to go into executive session. If I can have a motion to do that, please. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. So we will do an executive session. Sorry for that, everyone. If I can have a thank you. A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we did approve the employee list as seen. We all read. Any questions about that? If I can have a motion to pass that, please. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So the last thing is go east.
What? I'm sorry, I don't see that on the agenda.
Go Eagles and go Canes.
Oh, thank you guys. Sorry for the wait. We are.
It's all right.
Thank you.